third. The one thing for Denials is he can't get complacent here because it looks like you were saying, that 12 o'clock being taken on a kind of an off position, it looks like, because that spider mine in the way. Let's see if the Goliaths decide to either... I'm kind of curious how Denials is going to respond after this. But really nice, I'm not sure where he's getting this economy from, but sending in more Hydralisks to kind of counter this. It looks like with that siege tank he's going to have to back off though. Losing a couple carelessly here. Also losing a lot of Overlords. Really think the big key to this is that the key was just losing those Mutalisks so easily. Is Goliaths on Mutalisks not a very good combination, especially in equal numbers for the Mutalisks with Charon Booster and Weapons 1 in the mix. Very dangerous. Looks like Denials is taking that 6 o'clock now. But yeah, as soon as those Mutalisks were thinned out and really weak, Denials knew he had an opportunity to just push forward. Able to take out that 3 o'clock. I'm not sure if he knows about this 12 o'clock or this 9 o'clock though. Looks like we are seeing a Creep Colony go there to defend against probably the vultures that might be pushing out momentarily. But now just the mech army is swinging, and I feel like everything's working in Denial's favor. Denial's is going to be able to establish that 6 o'clock position. He's got a lot of Goliaths moving out in the mix, and he's also got siege tanks to support. Let's see if he's got actually weapons 2 kind of coming out in the mix here. Or he has a science facility as well, just to deal with lurkers in case there is a tech switch. I'm not seeing any indication of a tech switch at this stage, though. And it looks like it's just still at layer tech, still at the evolution chamber. We could see, in theory, a switch to Queen, because we do have the gas established for Apoth. But honestly, I think he's got to worry about more just holding map control right now, and at least just hanging on. It looks like we do see probably actually Armor 1 coming alongside. Hydralisk able to sneak in though, and starting to attack at that 6 o'clock. A couple turrets being placed and a bit of blockade, and this is, I have to say, this is the best way to deal with this for Apoth. You know that mech is slow, you know it's a bit immaneuverable, so just make sure that the mech army can attack you by constantly putting on pressure.
Well, he's got this Apoth has this flanking force of Hydras up here just outside the Terran main. They're just kind of stuck on the ramp though, not really doing too much, and so that's going to allow the Terrans to easily wipe out this attacking force at the 6, and he's just going to keep pushing on towards the 12. Really, a decent way to beat a heavy Goliath tank combo like this is he needs to keep producing Mutalisks. You fly in with the Mutalisks to snipe the siege tanks while your Hydras go in and, you know, get a nice semicircle around the Goliaths. You don't want to just flank from one direction either. You want to make sure you come in from all directions. Looks like the Hydra's, a small Hydra group, going to try to bust in through the front door. They're going to get annihilated pretty quickly here, though. I mean, they're going to take out a depot, but really that attack is just going to get cleaned up by the siege tanks and Goliaths. So, as I was saying, if you're going to go Hydra Muta against a Terran who's meching hardcore, you need to keep up with the Mutalisks, and you need to keep up with the Hydras. Flank from multiple directions. I mean, the middle ground in this area is just so huge. You can easily flank as Zerg and then get those Mutalisks in there to hit the siege tanks and then just surround with the Hydras. What
I think is actually brilliant about this is I don't think Apoth is really going in trying to do all that much significant damage. I think he just wants to keep that siege tank Goliath army off the expansions that are in the upper left-hand corner. In the meantime, he's managed to establish a lot here in the upper left. He's got pretty good drone saturation across the board. Critically hasn't managed to cap that gas, but as soon as he caps that gas, he's going to be in a really good position to just pump a lot of troops. Those additional hatcheries, as long as he can keep basically enough troops on the ground to stop any full frontal attack on his main and keep them off and keep these constant little attacks, bringing that troop back in that bottom left. And to the 6 o'clock, I think he's going to end up in a good position to the late game if he can get some time up to get that hive tech up and get that swarm. But he's still got a long way to go. In the meantime, I think you're right. Mutalisks would be huge right now. It looks like right now, even though he is managing to harass, it looks like that bottom, well, he's got some Scourge there in position. It looks like he is managing to sneak some through and harass. It looks like Denials is feeling comfortable enough with his reinforcements that he's just going to barrel through and try to take out everything that's in this upper left-hand corner, everything that's basically in the upper left hemisphere of this entire map.
Yeah, you can see Apoth, he just can't go toe-to-toe with this Terran mech army. The best thing he can do right now is just try to counter the Terran main, pull that army back, maybe even counter the 6 o'clock, to force that Terran to make the decision to come back. And you can see that's what Apoth is, that's what he's doing. Gonna go and try to counter the Terran main or the expansion, gonna try to force that Terran army to come back. Terran army engaging that 12 o'clock location. They're probably gonna be able to snipe this expansion before the Terran makes the decision to pull back. We'll see how effective this Zerg attack force does.
Yeah, I think this is a fair exchange for Denials, even if he does end up losing a little bit here near his main. I think he's going to have the reinforcements at a lot of these factories to hold this army back. It looks like he's actually got a dropship in production as well. But in the meantime, it looks like Apoth is going to end up losing everything, all of his 3 hatcheries into the upper left, and he really can't defend it. So yeah, the Siege Tank and 4 Goliaths to the south, able to pick off that Siege Tank rather rapidly. But again, with just the continual production, the SCVs can come off the line, the Goliaths can continually counter. It looks actually, I think this is a mistake from Denials. It looks like he's bringing the majority of his force back to deal with just a small Hydralisk army, and as long as it looks like he might lose a factory here, but not bringing the SCVs off the line instead. And I think that would have been the key here to really winning this match, is bring the SCV off the line to deal with these Hydralisks while you get the rest of your troops out, get some siege tanks out as well. Okay, now bringing the SCVs off the line while the Goliaths pop. So I think you'll still be able to clean this attack force off. But yeah, still I think it would have been a better situation just bring the SCVs off and continue to attack to that upper left. It looks like he only left a Goliath up there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if he had pulled SCVs from the Nat while those Hydras were still on the ramp and did a SCV drill, he could have screwed up their AI, they could have pushed them all over the place, and the Goliaths would have had a much higher success rate against defending that attack. But didn't happen, so Denial's kind of losing a little bit of his reinforcements, and obviously losing that factory, which is going to cut back his supply a little bit, losing a few SCVs because he pulled them later to deal with the Hydralisk, so his econ has now been damaged. But he's got the bottom left. He's got the 6 o'clock, as long as he keeps producing SCVs, and he's probably going to need to put down a few more factories here. He's only got 5, and with 4 bases, you can easily support 8 factories non-stop Goliath tank.
What's amazing to me right here is it looks like Apoth is just sticking to mid-game infantry, threw in some Mutalisks. He's going to be able to take out that bottom left-hand corner, might even be able to press against the 6 o'clock in not too long. And as you saw, that army that was coming back for Denials, by the time it managed to get to the base, the SCVs and the reinforcements had managed to take care of the troops that were coming across the midfield. It looks like what Denials is kind of posturing to do now at this stage is he feels like he's been harassed long enough, and he just wants to do a big attack at the main, but I think it might be too little too late. It looks like there's a large enough attack force out in the mix for Apoth to just reject this immediately.
Yeah, you can see the Zerg force just easily wiping out that army. You wait for that Terran army to move out into the open. You don't want